Hey guys, I want to start today with a short story. When Khrushchev was in control in Russia, he was condemning the evils of the reign of Stalin before a large audience. A voice called out, "You were one of his colleagues, why didn't you stop him?" A terrible silence followed, during which not a man moved a muscle. Raking the audience with his eyes, Khrushchev thundered, "Who said that?" The tension became unbearable as not a man moved or spoke. Then Khrushchev quietly said, "Now you know why." So what I want to talk today is about freedom of speech. Now, obviously, the recent incidents with Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty and Paula Dean, she of the cooking show, has revealed it's stirred up issues of freedom of speech. I guess people on YouTube such as Venom Fang X and Cartesian Theist and even I Emanuela have also raised a number of issues. Well, not raised, but issues have been raised because of what's happened to them. And the First Amendment prohibits any law abridging freedom of speech. It doesn't give you the right to say whatever you like, wherever you like, whenever you like. So clearly there are times when your freedom to go to a place is limited. So for example, if Phil Robertson wants to go on an interview and say something, he is entitled to do that within the bounds of what of the limitations of the interview. But he's not free to just walk into your living room and say that. He's not free to walk into the middle of the Congress and say that. He's not free to walk into a ladies' restroom and say that. So there are limitations on freedom of speech, even though this most recent incident has been framed in terms of freedom of speech. There have always been freedom of speech, and if you argue that that should not be the case, clearly you are not arguing for freedom of speech, you're arguing for tyranny of speech, your tyrannical right to say what you want to anyone in any way at any time. Now, there are already many exceptions to the First Amendment. I'll just read you the main exceptions there. You're not you do not have freedom of speech when you want to talk obscenity, defamation, incitement to riot or imminent lawless action, fighting words, forward speech covered by government-granted monopoly, copyright, and speech integral to criminal conduct. Now, sadly, in the UK, we also have a laundry list of exceptions to freedom of speech, the most concerning of which are abusive or insulting words or behaviour intending or likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress. And this has been used to prohibit anti-religious speech. But so in the first place, I would say that if your freedom is ring-fenced by a set of exceptions, then you're not truly free to speak anyway. But that's more of a technicality, I guess. But that's not really what the purpose of this short video is about. The main thing that I want to talk about is that none of us is free to speak. Even if there were no laws against freedom of speech, no laws defining, ring-fencing things that you can't say, you still would not be free to speak. None of us is free to speak. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're afraid of the consequences of your speech, then you are not free. The ultimate jailer, if you like, to your freedom of speech is yourself, because you are scared of what would happen. So Phil Robertson, for example, had he known that he would get threatened with the loss of his show, then he probably wouldn't have said what he said in public. Paula Dean, had she known that she would lose her cooking show, probably wouldn't have said what she said in public. And a lot of people would moderate their behaviour. Now, there was a fantastic article in The Guardian on the NSA spying, and I thought it was incredibly profound. I guess the NSA spying doesn't limit your freedom of speech. You're free to say what you want to whoever you want. But what the Guardian article pointed out, I've always kind of felt innately that I don't like people looking over my shoulder. I could never come up with a really good argument for my position on on the assumption that I'm doing no wrong, why shouldn't the government watch me? But the Guardian in the UK finally clarified for me why being spied upon is a bad thing, and that's that we all need to be free to formulate ideas without fear of condemnation. You know, and if you are afraid of legal repercussions, you're afraid of career repercussions, or you're simply afraid of social repercussions, I guess just social disapproval for what you say, then you're not free to speak. And obviously, if every word you say is scrutinised, for example, one of the things that came out of the NSA spying was that they were spying on the pillow talk between high-ranking generals and their partners back home. So if these generals are afraid to express themselves, you know, that these high-ranking officers are afraid to just talk, you know, to smooch or talk dirty to their wives or girlfriends or boyfriends and husbands, you know, then that is the grossest invasion of privacy that I can imagine. So it seems to me that the only real freedom of speech that anyone can ever have is when you are fearless about the consequences. I'm mindful of Martin Luther King and Benazir Bhutto. You know, they both gave their lives for their beliefs, and that is the only kind of fearlessness, the only kind of freedom of speech that you can ever really have. As most of us are far too concerned about the opinions of others to really speak our minds out in public. I'm mindful of Manuela, the girl who recently did the anti-gay video in support of Phil Robertson, and her channel's closed now because she got so much condemnation that she presumably couldn't take it. You know, you see that all the time, people who tweet stupid things and then close their Twitter accounts. You know, for me, one of the greatest modern day heroes, apart from Snowden, Edward Snowden, who kind of has spoken, but he's gone on the wrong run. So in a sense, he's not really free because he's now kind of trapped in a foreign country. But is Maria Alyakina, which is one of the three singers of Pussy Riot, and she got imprisoned in a gulag in Russia for playing kind of quite, I guess, you know, offensive music in a church in Russia. And she, you know, it was a real slap down by the state that she was given such an extreme and over the top sentence, which some people have suggested was Putin pallying up to the Orthodox Church in Russia. I admire this woman so much, even though I don't agree with what she did. She got sent to prison and then from there transferred to this gulag to make her sentence even more arduous. And now she's just been given a pardon, which appears to be a publicity stunt in light of the Olympics because of the anti-gay bigotry that's coming out and the hatred against Russia for that. And she came out of prison, and the first thing she did was criticise Putin. And you know, I mean, she may be a woman, but the balls on her, you know, they're just. I mean, here's a woman who's just paid just short of the ultimate price for expressing herself, and even on the doorstep of the prison, she's expressing contempt for the person who sent her to prison again. And you know, that is the only type of freedom you can have, is when you completely separate yourself from fear of the consequences. Only then can you really be free. You take care, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take the time to rate and comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe. Thank you.